Hi everyone, this is Anmoldeep Singh from the team Learners 10. How are you all doing? This session is specifically crafted as a beginning of a series where we will be working around different topics, connecting with different speakers, and in all, bringing value to all of you. So I can see Tejas already pretty excited over the same. And let's bring our speaker for the day, Preksha Mahajan. Please add her on stage.
Hi.
Hi, Preksha. So, around the whole scenario, for all of those who know or may not know about Preksha is a mentor at Open, as the banner already says. And she's also a public speaker who has done 30 to 35 talks roughly. And most of them have been online. This is one of the few ones that happens online. And just for the idea of what these talks were about, she has also spoken in Deaf Fest Jalandhar, I guess.
Yes.
So you can guess to that point that the experts that we look up to while being into communities are here now with us, covering the same concept in source communities. And the surprising thing is that you might be wondering that okay, she might be very experienced, 2 3 years of work experience at least. Let me drop the banger there. She is just in third year engineering, so not very different from you. Yet here, as we see her. Apart from that, she is also a content creator at Pro Peers, which is again a brand associated and dedicated to learners. Correct. And apart from that, as I already stated, she is into third year of her engineering at Chitkara University. The open source Chandigarh was a forum established in 2022, and she led it from July 23 to 24 September. And she she is a mentor there, no longer in lead, but now taking the next set of leaders to take it forward. And there are so many great things around. We just had a chit chat before the live stream as well, and it showed a lot of potential that what can happen further. But every big things starts with single step, right? So maybe a humble live stream like this one, where we get in touch first and improvise on the process and ways we connect later on. So, all over to you, Preksha. We are set to get to the main thing. How do open source communities really do work?
Okay, so hi everyone. Firstly, thank you Anmol for the very kind introduction. It meant a lot for me. So, to all the audience, welcome to the live stream on how do open source communities work. So, as Anmol already introduced me, so I'm Preksha Mahajan, 21 years old, mentor at Open Source Chandigarh and currently studying in third year at Chitkara University. I'm also a content creator at ProPeers and my interests lie in open source web and app development. I have been a public speaker for the past 1 year and recently I have delivered a talk at DevFest Jalandhar, which is one of the most famous public speaking conferences and tech conferences conducted in Punjab. So moving on to the today's session, the agenda will be all about open source, learning on how to contribute in open source, getting started with open source if you are a beginner. We'll be learning about various open source programs. Then, coming to the main topic of today's session, how do open source communities actually thrive? We'll learn how do open source communities they actually work together for a cause, and then we'll be learning about different types of contributions, important points you need to remember as an open source contributor. Then I'll be telling you about some of the famous tools and platforms that you need before contributing to any open source project. In case we have enough time, I'll show you the hands on demonstration on contributing to an open source project. And at the end, you can ask all your queries, all your doubts related to open source and your contributions. So, before I move on, uh, this is a very famous line which was actually also spoken by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that India is actually a very fast growing developer community. So India's developers are the second highest contributors to open source projects on GitHub, and indeed, it is an achievement for our uh, nation that we have so many developers. They all are working together. They are promoting open source. They are focusing more towards innovation over everything, and they are working collaboratively instead of working individually, and that's the team spirit that open source promotes. So before I move on to the next slide, I want to ask to all the audience who are watching this stream, how many of you know the meaning of open source? Can I get some thumbs up? Right. So I'm getting some of the reactions, and yeah, there is someone who wrote, don't know. No worries, I'll be telling you. Okay. So open source is actually a culture that is being promoted everywhere by every open source organization. So, open source is actually uh, a type of culture that promotes open source software. Open source softwares are those whose source code is available to the public, to the developers who can view, utilize, modify, and distribute the software. According to their customized needs, right? So, and such software is typically developed together by some community of volunteers and organizations. So let's take a real life example. I'm a chef. I baked a cake and I shared that recipe with my friends. Like, I have about 5 to 6 friends, and I shared the recipe with them. And I asked them that, please, can you modify this recipe? Can you make a better cake than me? And they put up their own ingredients, they shared their own recipes. So that's like an open source project, which is a cake. And you are asking other contributors, other friends of yours, to contribute their own things based upon their taste, based upon their customized needs. So that is what actually open source means. So there are some certain icons, as you can see on the screen. All these programming languages, browsers, frameworks, they are actually open source. Their source code is available to the public, to the developers, and they can see how these codes have been written. So, a quick question: can anyone tell me which is the most famous operating system which is open source? Exactly. Right. It's Linux. So, that's the evolution of open source from basic to advanced projects. Many organizations are using open source projects, they are using open source software, and in the end, it's all about reusing the code. So, moving on to the importance of open source. Firstly, skill growth. So, if you know particular set of skills. If you are aware of something, like suppose you are a web developer, and now you want to contribute outside your project. You have built enough projects, and now you want that you should contribute to other projects. So open source is something that can provide you a platform to enhance your skills as well as learn new technologies too. So then we have innovation. When you are working together with a lot of diverse developers from all over the world, you can witness innovation, because many people, they are coming together and they are working upon certain set of let's say some feature enhancement. They are providing their own inputs. So that's where innovation begins, and you can see that many things, new things you can uh, get to know, you can learn. So that's the one of the basic highlights of open source. Coming to the transparency and security, so it's actually said that open source softwares, they are not secure, but in actual they are the most one of the most secure softwares, because the developers, they can witness the code, they can see the code, and they can find out the vulnerabilities and ask the project admin to fix that, or they can even contribute. So that's the power of open source, that you're enhancing the code security. And it's all flexible, right? So then we have cost efficiency, that open source softwares, they make the costs very effective, because people are reusing the code, right? So that code reusability makes it cost effective for the organizations. Coming to the last but not the least point, job opportunities. When you are contributing to open source, uh, many recruiters, they find you and they think that your profile looks very good, you are contributing to various open source projects, you are working on various tech stacks. So obviously job opportunities will attract you. So, how to get started with open source? Firstly, you need to build your skill set. If you are interested in development, you know you need to learn either front end or back end or full stack. For front end, you can go for HTML, CSS, JS, and frameworks and libraries like React, Angular, Vue. Then for back end, you have Mon Stack, Mean Stack, right? So in case of Java, you can learn Spring Boot, and for app development, you have Flutter and Android, right? Then, after you have built your skill set, which is enough to contribute to open source projects, at least basic projects, then you need to learn version control system, because version control system helps you to manage your source code. For example, Git is one of the most popular version control systems, and it was also created by the creator of Linux, that is Linus Torvalds. And yesterday it was his birthday. Then we have cloud hosting platform like GitHub, where your source code is stored after you have pushed it from Git, from your local machine to the uh, place where people can collaborate. After you have learned VCS, after you have built your skill set, now it's time to find projects that are related to your skill set, or even you can contribute beyond your skill set. Then, one of the very best part of open source is that you can actively participate in various open source programs. I'll be discussing further for the beginner, intermediate, and advanced level. There are so many open source programs, and you can also participate in those programs, and you can learn a lot of things. Yep, Linus built Git and then Linux kernel. So, he can be considered as father of open source. So, coming to the open source programs. So, at beginner level, if you are someone who is not aware of open source or who is not aware of any advanced projects, then beginner level open source programs can be very helpful to you. At first, we have GSOC. It's Girl Script Summer of Code conducted by Girl Script Foundation. We have Social Winter of Code conducted by Social Foundation. And then we have Hacktoberfest, which is the one of the largest open source programs conducted in the month of October, as you can read from the name. At intermediate level, we have outreachy program, and it is a very good opportunity for girls and for diversity people, and it can help them, earn stipend even. So it's a very good opportunity, and applications open around May or in January, depending upon the location. At advanced level, we have MLH Fellowship. Then we have Google Summer of Code, which is the most prestigious open source program conducted by Google. We have LFX Mentorship. So all these programs, they eventually help you learn about open source contributions, how you can contribute actively, find a good developer community, and you can talk with them. So, how do open source communities thrive? See, there are so many key elements, but I shortlisted three and I am sharing these three with you all. So, first is shared values. An open source community, for example, if we consider open source Chandigarh, my community, so we have a strong mission, and our mission and vision includes that all our contributors, they align with the goals of the project, and our particular aim is to promote some key values like transparency, collaboration, and openness that builds the trust and that asks the uh, contributors to join and help in making the project a success. Then communication. So there are various platforms like GitHub discussions, Slack, Discord, and all these platforms, they focus on one thing, that is collaboration, on how to make this idea sharing thing and collaboration work effectively for all the contributors, because ultimately we want to make the things very transparent and trustworthy, right? Then we have feedbacks. uh, Feedbacks are actually very important, even if you are if you are an organizer of any such community, or be it any tech community. So collecting feedback and acting upon those feedbacks, it actually enhances the way you want to conduct that event or you are conducting that project, and you need to make sure that all these things, they align with the goals, that the focus should not be diverted. So, some of the tools and platforms that you need before you need to contribute to open source. Firstly, it's GitHub, obviously for contribution purposes. Then we have Git, which is the version control system. We have Discord, Slack, various forums, Stack Overflow could be something, GitHub discussions for the communication purposes, where you can communicate with the project admin or the maintainer of one particular project and talk to him about the project, about your features, about your ideas, and you can collaborate accordingly. Before we move on, I want to discuss a very important thing that can help a college student enhance his or her college life. That is GitHub Student Developer Pack. So, this is a something very resourceful for college students, because here you can find a lot many things. For example, learning tutorials and online courses. You can get the subscription for some months or particular amount of years for free, and you can upskill yourself, and that's a very good part, I guess. As a college student, you are getting the very costly resources for free only using your college ID. Then for your personal websites, for your projects, you can use various, you need domains, right? And domains are very costly in the tech world. So you can get some domains like .tech, dot dot com, I guess. And there are many other domains you can get all for free for 1 to 2 years. And I guess that can enhance your projects personally, what I feel. Hosting credits for deploying projects on platforms like Heroku, Azure, and you get some amount of credits. For example, for Azure, you get about $100 credits, which in actual way a student is unable to afford, right? Then for collaboration tools, we have JetBrains ID. You can access all these things for free. Now, recently, GitHub Copilot has been made free for every developer, and GitHub Copilot Pro version is available for the students. So, what you need to do today, the task for you all is that you need to go to education.github.com, just check out and try to register yourselves. There is one QR code in the stream, as you can see. You can scan it and you will get a video of open source Chandigarh. We have showcased how to get enrolled in GitHub Student Developer Pack, and how you can access various resources. So that would be very helpful for you throughout your college journey. And I have personally used scrimba.com for learning web development, front end development actually. And it's a very good resource, so you can also explore and learn more things. Earlier, around in 2022, you used to get Canva Pro, and that was also a very good resource for creating PPTs. So we have enough time, so let's get hands on. But before we get hands on, I want to discuss two types of contributions mainly. One is code contribution and one is non code contribution. Code contributions can be all about fixing bugs, feature enhancement, right? So, when you are as a developer, your focus should be more towards tech, more towards good code contributions. But even if you are not a developer, open source is always a welcoming platform for you, where you can even contribute even if you are not a developer. For non code contributions, you can write good documentations about the project, you can write contribution guidelines, you can even make some tutorials about working off that particular project. You can enhance the design by working on various Figma files. So that's the power of open source. It's not only empowering the developer community, it's also empowering non developers. And I guess it's a very good opportunity for developers and non developers to work upon. So let's go upon this hands-on demonstration now. And also, we'll be working towards good non-code contribution today, as we don't have enough time because we need to take your queries also. So I'll be sharing my entire screen. So this is one of the repositories, and as you can see, we require, firstly we have some prerequisites, that is, we need a GitHub account, we need to install git bash in your local machine in your computer, and you need to have VS Code or other type of editor. So I created a repository. A repository is a place where you have all the source code available. So this is one of the repositories, and the name is the Learner's Den session. There is one README file, a documentation file, and I want to enhance it, right? So, what I'll do, I'll be contributing to it. Before contribution, I need to show you this section, that is creating an issue. So issues, there are so many open source projects, and you can see that there are so many issues listed. So as a contributor, you can also list your issue on which you want to work upon, right? So let me go to my main account and we'll be contributing from there. So I have this repository from logged in from my account, as you can see. So I want to work upon the issue of enhancing the README. So I'll start creating a new issue, and you need to write it in a way that the other person, that the project admin or maintainer, he or she is able to understand it in a very lucid manner, in a very good manner, because things should be in a good way. There is no fun of spamming or doing wrong things or writing bad code. So let me write the issue, enhance readme file, add about the session. It is a good practice to write the description as well. So I have submitted this issue here. So now I have submitted the issue. The project admin, he or she is able to see this issue created by me. So you can start working upon the issue, but it is good that you get it assigned to yourself. You can either write a comment that please assign me this issue. I'm really interested in working. Something that shows your excitement and enthusiasm for contributing into a project. So I can change the assignee here and I can assign myself. So I've assigned this issue to myself, and let's see how we are going to work upon it. Let me go back to the code section, and now it's time for me to fork this repository. Forking is like creating a copy of this repository, but it will come under your name, right? So I created this fork. So we can even work in the other way. We can directly push that code from there, but it is a good practice to first fork the repository, because this helps to create a project in which you can freely experiment the changes. You can freely experiment with the code, and you need not affect the original project, right? So I have created this fork, and now I want this repository to get in my local machine, in my computer. So what I'll do, I'll clone this repository and let it come in my local machine. So firstly, I'll just copy this link of the repository from this button code. I'll go to the particular place where I want this repository to come. I'll open git bash here, and I'll write this command git clone, and here comes the repository name. So as you can see, this folder, which was actually on my GitHub, it is here with some .git folder and readme file. And now what we'll do, here as you can see in the terminal, there is the session folder as the current folder. So I'll navigate to the original folder where we have the code. I'll use this command cd the learners den session, and as you can see, I'm here in the learners den session, and I'm here in the main branch. So I want that my code should be pushed in some other branch, so that it does not actually affect the original project, which can actually bring more conflicts with other developers working on the same branch. So it is a good practice to create new branch. So I am going to create a new branch. Let's say docu. So as you can see now my branch has been changed to docu. So I want that I should start contributing and make some changes. So I'll open VS Code here. And as you can see, I can see this readme file on my screen. And now I want to write about open source. Let's say I'm going to write about some 2 to 3 points about open source. Open source is the need of the hour. It promotes innovation and fosters collaboration. Take a step ahead and join an open source community. Good luck, contributors. So that was all the changes that I have made, and now I want that this should reflect on my forked repository as well as on the main repository of the project owner. That was all the changes I need to make, right? So what I'll do, I'll add these changes by this command git add. So how do I know that there is no such message like we received in case of git clone? How do I know that these changes have been added to the staging area? I'll go and check git status. So here you can see that I have modified readme.md file. So I want to commit my changes. So I'll go to this command git commit -m, and I'll write a very good commit message that I have enhanced the documentation file. So I have committed this, and now what I need to do, I need to push these changes to my forked repository. For that, I'll go with this command git push origin, and I'll write the branch name. So as you can see from the message here, that I have pushed my branch and now it's ready to be merged into the main. I just need to create a pull request, and so let's do it. Let's go back here, and here you can see that my branch, the branch which I had created, it has some recent pushes. So I'm going to create a pull request here. So I have written this title, which is actually my commit message, and now I can request the project admin to um, actually I'll be telling them like I have made these changes, and now I want you to merge these changes. Just a second. So I'm just going to ask the project admin or maintainer to merge these changes, and I'll provide a detailed description. I have added the importance of open source. You can even add the screenshot of all the changes which you have done, so that it actually showcases your interest in contributing to that particular project. Please review my changes. And now I'm going to create a pull request. Also you can mention the uh, number of the issue that you are going to resolve. So I am resolving issue number 3, and now I'm creating this pull request. So everything is good to go. I have pushed my changes, I have created the pull request. Now it's up to the project admin or maintainer to check, if to review and check and make sure that this code it actually gets put up in the main original project. So as a project admin myself, I have reviewed all these changes. I can see the commits, I can see the files changed from here, all the things I have added, it's mentioned here in the green, and I guess it's good to go. So I'm just going to merge this pull request. So this request has been merged into the main thing, and now let's go back to the main project, and yes, you can see that we have this the changes which I made, and it's on the original project, it's reflected there. So that's how you can contribute to open source projects. And let me share the PPT. So something very important before we contribute to a certain project. Firstly, you need to follow the guidelines and the context. While you're going to contribute to a particular project, you need to ensure that you are talking to the project admin, you're talking to the project maintainer about the project, about your contribution, and you need to follow certain kind of guidelines which is already mentioned in the project itself, usually in the readme or contribution.md file. So that's a good practice. And you need to focus on the code quality, because what's the fun of spamming or writing bad code, right? That's not a good practice, because as a developer you need to make sure that you're writing clean code, you're writing good code, something that is functional, something that actually works on the enhancement of the project. Then make sure you are reviewing your getting your code reviewed from your peers or your mentors or from the maintainers itself, because it can help you know about the feedback. As I told you earlier, open source communities, they actually thrive on all the feedbacks received, and in the end the goal is to ensure that the project has good quality. So it's the Q&A time. So, all the attendees who are watching this live stream, I request you all to ask questions and make sure you get your queries resolved, so that it's the best practice to have fun in the session. See, Tejas, open source communities, they actually work in the same way. There are different roles, right? See, there is one part that is organization, and one part is about the projects, right? So, organization, that all other tech communities also do. But open source communities, they actually work towards enhancing open source projects and softwares. So, there are different kinds of roles like maintainer, contributor, admin. So you get to know about the project management. So I also showed you a short tutorial on how you can contribute to open source. And in actual, if there was someone else with me, for example, if we had a separate person for maintaining the project, which is the main repository, then you could have realized that yes, in this way open source communities work. Currently I'm a single person here. So in a community, in an open source community, there are various types of people. There are different people from all parts of the world, different parts of the world, with their diverse uh, innovation strategies, right? So as I'm individual here, so I'm able to demonstrate only this much. But in case you are taking part in various open source programs, you'll realize that they are also kind of open source communities and they're managing all these projects themselves. Why is documentation crucial in open source projects and how can beginners improve it? See, documentation is not just for the sake of documenting things, it's actually for future developers, for future learners as well. They are able to understand all about the projects. So for contributing towards documentation, so there are some points that beginners need to understand. It's not always about maintaining the English of that particular documentation or maintaining that language. For example, there is some grammatical mistake and you are trying to change that thing and making it right. That's not an open source contribution which is actually considered as good. For documentation, you can write about what that project is about, and you can write how to contribute to those projects, and how what all steps are needed, what all requirements are needed. For example, you need to have particular dependencies for that project, right? So why do we need to contribute in open source projects? I have already shared in the previous slides. This is the importance of open source and how you can contribute to open source projects and why actually. So, see, there one of my friends, Animesh, he was also a part of Open Source Chandigarh, and currently he is also a mentor with me, and he cracked Google Summer of Code this year in the month of May. So he really got some job opportunities which normally people from other colleges they don't get, right? So job opportunities are something that can actually attract you towards contributing towards open source projects. Tejas, I guess I shouldn't answer such kind of questions because it attacks a particular organization. But yes, I understand your concern that you are having that rage. See, it's actually a bit wrong, but in the end, everyone wants to promote the open source philosophy, right? It shouldn't be done for the sake of points or swags, but it should be done in the name of innovation and collaboration, on the power of open source, on what innovative things you can bring. How to balance and incentivize or get gratification from open source contributions. See, working upon projects is something that is your responsibility, right? So now it's another responsibility is your another responsibility should be able to network with the people who are already open source contributors, and you need to talk to them, you need to discuss things with them, right? Just a second. So, in that way, you can talk to them, learn from their experiences, and you need to understand that besides your studies, besides your college work, there is something outside which you need to do, and that's the way to stand out as an extraordinary person. How can you find beginner friendly issues in an open source project to work upon? See, there are some kinds of labels while you go to the issue section. For example, good first issue, and there you can see, let me show you the same repository that we used. I have created two issues and I have mentioned these labels here. For example, I have mentioned this enhancement issue, good first issue. So, good first issue, as I can hover over here, It's actually very good for newcomers. And you can ask the project maintainer or admin to assign you. Either you can have a discussion here in the same issue portion, or you can join some forum. For example, there is a repository of Docker, and Docker is used for containerization, as we all know. It is also open source, and also Docker is one of the community partners of Open Source Chandigarh. So Docker has the forum of Slack, and you can go to that particular place. You can ask the owners or ask the admins to assign those issues. You can share your interest and enthusiasm for working towards that project, and hence you can get that issue assigned. But make sure that it actually stays. Um, because it's very important that if you are getting that issue assigned to you, then that means that you are actually working for that. You are not just getting it assigned for the sake of contributing, but make sure that it is something that you follow further in future. How to write proposal for GSOC? See, firstly, you need to find the organization, particular organization you want to contribute to. Then you need to understand and keep a basic outline in your mind about what you want to do in that particular organization, and how you want to enhance the project. So for that you need to write all the functional non-functional requirements, and how you which tech stack you will be working upon by enhancing that. For that feature enhancement, what all technologies you will be using, right? So that that's all you need to write in the proposal for GSOC. Don't make it from chat gpt or other AI tools, because originality is always preferred. What is your remarkable experience that shaped you the most from open source world? So see, I was a Google Girl Script Summer of Code contributor in 2023, and I guess that was my first open source program, and I was among few people from my universities to contribute into that particular program. And after that contribution, I realized that this is the actual real life experience I have received just from that simpler contribution which I have done. And after that, I could see lots of people from our university participating in that program. So it was a very good experience for me, and I actually learned on how to work in real life projects. Yes, GSOC is actually easier than Google Summer of Code. See, Girl Script Summer of Code is at a beginner level. If you are going towards uh, basic level programs in open source, then Girl Script Summer of Code is a good thing. You find some particular 100 to 120 projects where you can contribute depending upon your tech stack. You can see the issues listed there, you can work upon them. Google Summer of Code is particularly one of the most prestigious open source programs, and it is an advanced level program as well. And there you can see that lots of famous organizations like Chromium, Animesh contributed into AOSSIE. So there are very famous organizations. You can check on the official website of Google Summer of Code. I guess someone from the team can share the link of the site, and you can find that the tech stack is quite high, and you need to actually work very hard. There is a lot of competition there as well. So yes, Google Summer of Code is something that you makes you extraordinary, but you have to work very hard for that. Any more questions?
We may take just last few questions since
Sure.
we are towards the end of time. So fortunately, I guess we already covered GSOC is easier than GSOC is already covered. That was the last question. Do we have
Yeah,
any other? Or we are good to close? We'll take that as a close. Okay, sure.
right. How do you handle disagreements or conflicts within an open source community? See, conflicts are bound to happen because every person, they have their own ideas, they have their own proposals regarding the project, or be it any tech initiative. So, as if you are a lead, then it's all about your decision making skills on how to handle such disagreements and conflicts, but these should be handled in a positive manner. And secondly, you need to ensure that you listen to each and every person of the open source community, of that particular tech community. You need to know their opinions and take decisions accordingly, because when you are taking care of your team members, their opinions, their perspectives, then that makes you a good lead, right? What about Summer of Bitcoin? Is it similar to GSOC? So, Summer of Bitcoin is not similar to GSOC. It's more about blockchain, and GSOC is all about, depending upon various tech stacks from various other technologies, be it cloud, AI, ML, and all. But Summer of Bitcoin is perhaps focused on blockchain. So, as you can see on the screen, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and Twitter. I am mostly active on both of these platforms. And make sure you share your learnings on LinkedIn, and you can tag me, you can tag Anmol, you can tag the Learners Den, which is a very amazing community and platform that has provided me a chance to conduct this session as well. So make sure you are actively participating in community events and learning new and new things, because college, they are particularly focused upon some things. But if you want to get out of the box, if you want to do something extraordinary that makes you stand out, then you actually need to participate in various events, meetups, dev fest can be there, tech conferences that can help you enhance your skills and learn more about the developer community, right? So, over to you, Anmol.
Thank you so much, Preksha. That was a very good hands-on session as well. I was not expecting the hands-on screen share part. I was not aware, but now with the fact that we have it covered, this will be a very good resource moving forward for anyone who asks that, how do I contribute? What is working? It's a complete walkthrough at once. So it is answered once and for all. And also, I had this question from the chat that why we are here to learn about how do open source communities work, not about open source contribution. So first of all, let me phrase that answer to it as well. This session is actually the real foundation of how open source communities work, because before we run a community, there needs to be a project, a goal, a lead, a team, a reason for that contributions to be made. And all of that comes up only after you have these basics foundations sorted. Now, if we talk about communities, the communities will not work if there is no need of a community, right? Similarly, so after these sessions, we can definitely dive deeper on the question as well. And I know the why is he asking, because he himself runs a open source community for a project. So that's, I know that's where it is coming from. But no worry, Tejas, we will take the question further, maybe in the future sessions. Also, thank you so much everyone who has connected and or maybe watching this video late on a later point of time. And looking forward to have you all again and again with our sessions. These are the few clips from the events that we have done before, and we span on different areas depending upon the availability of speakers and the interest of the audience or members. So please feel free to reach out to us and ask for any request any session or topic to be covered. We'll be more than happy to take it up if it is in good numbers, so that we can actually make sense of the efforts. So it has been a great evening. Thank you so much, Preksha, once again for taking out this time.
Most welcome. Thank you for having me. And thank you everyone for attending this.
Yes, and with that, I hereby declare this meetup as completed and dismissed. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you everyone. Goodbye.